Okay, we're good to go. Hello, how are you? My name is Matthew. You are in the Moment, late night, 11:30. Going to be in here real quick, and I'm just going to start off with my only apology of the show. And I'm just apologizing to those that perhaps are watching this in high definition. So the reason I'm in here, a couple of things. The Halifax Regional Municipality had a meeting today. I'm going to talk about that at the end of the show. And today, the 18th day, the latter part of this 18th day of November 2025, it was 2 years ago today that me and another Nova Scotian rolled into Grand Parade Square, where we spearheaded an awareness campaign for 108 days, 157 days total for me before my brain broke. So that's 2 years ago. I had been documenting this crisis a year prior to that, and I continue to do so. And the proof is right here on my Facebook page and all the shows. You can find them on my YouTube channel as well. So, going to be in here for a few moments. Late night, if you're watching this live, I appreciate the live views. Feel free to banter back and forth. If you're watching this at your leisure, I appreciate that as well. So let's look at the weather. I always like to start off the program with the weather because I know the majority of people watching the show are inside. So let's be curious to see what's happening outside, especially keeping in mind those that are in tents this evening, and there are plenty. So it's going to be at the freezing point tonight. Chance of flurries. I can see the stars are out on my way home from work. Mix of sun and cloud tomorrow, 6 degrees, -4 tomorrow. And just cool temperatures. The sun will be back full force on Thursday with a high of 5. And the thing, it's nice to have the clear skies in the day. It's nice to have the sunshine, absolutely. But when the clouds disappear, the temperature drops. So beautiful in the daytime, dangerous at night. So periods of rain, looking ahead, periods of rain in the forecast for Friday, and a high getting up to 8 degrees. Okay, enough about the weather. I made a couple of Facebook posts on Friday night. If you hear some banging around, the cat has one of their toys. I put up a picture. I put up a picture of a gentleman or an individual. I don't know. I didn't see this particular individual, but Friday night I just took a picture describing that an individual was getting ready to spend the night in the roadway on the sidewalk that leads down to the ferry terminal, where you have to drive around the big structure and turn around, like the cul-de-sac. And what I took away from the comments on just a simple photo and a description, we have a long ways to go as a society when we are just putting words out on your opinion of what's going on out there, how you perceive it. We just have a long ways to go as far as compassion and really understanding what's happening in 2025 that's putting people out onto the street. This isn't the 80s and 90s. They're like every single one of us walking on this planet, I have no doubt, are under tremendous stress, and not having four walls definitely adds to that. So that was kind of interesting. And the other one, an individual just in comments liked it more when I just focused on the housing crisis here in the Halifax Regional Municipality. And I appreciate that, but made a comment where I would turn off half of my audience when my post became political. I was just made a post about how delighted I was to watch the dumpster fire down south hopefully come to an end. That being said, what I have been talking about for the last 3 years and this crisis, is that not political? Like, let's be serious here. Okay, so please try not to dictate my show. I've told people many times, you have the power to turn on the phone and have your own narrative. Like, I really, at 52, couldn't give a rip. Who comes and goes? I started doing this in 2017 as therapy. This crisis here has somewhat hijacked my live streams. This is the story. This is the story that I am telling with my phone. So if you have a story to tell, by all means, turn on your phone, whatever you need to do, your TikTok, your Instagram, your X, doesn't matter to me. I really don't care who comes and goes, doesn't matter. What does matter is trying to get a hold of the individuals at the Harvest House Community Outreach of Windsor. They had a great, I don't want to say promotion, a great awareness campaign. I'm hoping that they may do it annually, but it's an opportunity for the public to go to a makeshift shelter and spend the night. Just spend the night, just to get an idea of what it's like on the outside. So if anyone knows anyone that is a part of the Harvest House Community Outreach of Windsor, get them to send me a private message. I've reached out to them. I think I may just give them a phone call tomorrow. I'm sure their phone number is on their Facebook page. I just would like to talk to them for my radio program, Truth from the Booth. I'm going to switch gears here real quick as we are just 7 minutes into the program. Probably going to wrap it up within 15. But I just want to give a shout out to the newest Grey Cup champions 2025, the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Just some interesting numbers. You know me, if you've watched the show, you know I like numbers. There were a couple of numbers that jumped out to me while I was listening to the game. Now, I have been a Roughriders fan for like almost 24 years. I haven't really followed any of the games lately, but I did listen to the Grey Cup on Sunday night, and there were two numbers that struck me. The quarterback for Montreal, I believe, was undefeated going into the Grey Cup. I think he must have ended the season at 13-1. You know, if you're going to lose one game, make it your first. Don't make it your last, because you know that last game is the most important. But listening to it on the radio and then seeing the highlights and knowing that this quarterback from Montreal had a severe hamstring injury, played the whole game, really gutted it out. If that injury is not there, it may be a different outcome. But the other thing that stood out, so this quarterback who certainly has a future in the CFL with Montreal or wherever he goes, ends the season with a loss in the Grey Cup, 13-1 record. But the other big number, Montreal in the final moments of the fourth quarter were marching downfield. They did need a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. They needed 8 points to send the game into overtime. On the drive down, I think there was a late penalty. It was 1st and goal, almost certainly an opportunity to at least tie the game. And going into this game, this is the other number, going into this game in the red zone, which I believe is the 20-yard line to the goal line, they were flawless. I think maybe over 50 attempts in the red zone with no mistakes, except for the Grey Cup and a fumble. Saskatchewan recovers. Saskatchewan goes on to win the game 25-17. If you haven't seen the highlights, check it out. Like I said, just a gutsy performance by the quarterback for the Montreal Alouettes. Yeah, just great football. And yeah, there was something else that happened before the game. And if you saw before the game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, I want to end the show here. I'm going to try and do this in 5 minutes. And what you're seeing here this is something that was put together January 29th of 2024 was when I put this together. So this is a bit old, but there's a couple of things. Like I mentioned off the top of the show, there was a meeting today. The Halifax Regional Municipality, the council members got together, and you can see a quick story on the CBC News at 6. They're looking to phase out the rest of the designated encampments over the next couple of years. Now, I was contacted early this morning by one of the reporters from the local outlets here. They were bringing this story to me. I'll have to check Global to see if that story, who they spoke with. But like I said, the HRM is looking to phase out encampments, designated encampments, I would assume here in the Halifax Regional Municipality over the next couple of years. We know that just within the next few weeks, Lower Flint Park encampment, that will be closing, leaving only two. The one in Dartmouth, the Green Road encampment, and the one just up the road from here in the shadows of the McDonald Bridge, the Barrington Street encampment. Those will be the only two remaining. Okay, here we go. This is going to be kind of a lightning round. And this, like I said from the very beginning, this marks the 2-year anniversary that I first arrived at Grand Parade Square, where we spearheaded an awareness campaign that went national. Yeah, there was all kinds of things we could have done better. I know for sure. Certainly things I would have changed. But I just want to give you a quick glimpse. And if you don't know anything about what happened in the fall and winter of 2023, 2024, go back on my YouTube. All those shows are there. All the shows are there. So I just want to give you a quick breakdown of what happened, what I observed, what I was a part of from November 18th to January 29th. So I'm just going to throw my glasses on and I'm just going to read this in chronological order. And I hope you can hear, and I really hope you understand what I voluntarily went through. I've seen social workers, I've seen therapists about what I went through, what I saw. But it has given me, and it continues to give me, an understanding and a continuing education on what it's really like out there. So I just want to quickly share with you, I think I called this Significant Dates at Grand Parade Square, November 18th through January 29th. So this is a very brief time frame, but just have a listen. Again, just significant dates. There's a lot of dates here, but I've highlighted the most significant ones. November 18th, arrived at Grand Parade Square in the van. November 23rd, I was verbally assaulted by one of the residents at Grand Parade Square, so much so that I was in fear for my life. And I can tell you at 52 years old, on that 23rd day of November, was the first time ever in my life that I feared for my life. Ever. And this particular individual could be watching the show. They know who they are. So that's the 23rd of November. November 28th, I was verbally assaulted again. 5 days later, my life was threatened for a second time. at Grand Parade Square, City Hall, Halifax, Nova Scotia. I'm just there to help people. I was just there to help people. December 4th, I begin my first week of unpaid work from the commissionaires. Yeah, I was working full-time. I had a full-time job. The first 2 weeks that I was at Grand Parade Square, I was still working. And I can tell you I was a completely different person at the end of the first week when I was going to work, finishing work, and then just running up the street, going back to Grand Parade Square and taking over that chaos. So for those that just tell people to go get a job, it is not, it's impossible. It's impossible. It will eventually beat you down. You might be able to do it for a couple of weeks, maybe a month, but if you're in a tent and you're trying to go 9 to 5 or any type of work, please. This was a very interesting night. December 5th, I remember it like it was last night. A black, unmarked SUV squealed into Grand Parade Square off of Barrington, came to a very quick stop in front of the monument by the church. Doors opened up, belongings were thrown onto Grand Parade Square. A large individual got out, and then the vehicle drove away. Come to find out, this was an individual who just got released from jail. Officer asked him where he wanted to go, even though he was from the valley. For some reason, this particular individual said Grand Parade Square. So that's where the officer dropped him off. And I remember I was probably in 5 layers. It was one of the coldest nights in early December. I set him up. I put all his belongings in a tent. While I'm helping him out, another individual showed up, and he was setting his tent up, his summer tent up, on the snow. So I'm dealing with one who just got dropped off by a cop. 10 minutes later, I'm dealing with someone who's setting up a tent on the snow. I put them both in those red tents. And I'm thinking that if I hadn't been there, what would have happened to those particular individuals? On December 6th, as we were remembering the 106th anniversary of the Halifax explosion, I set up 6 more red tents at Grand Parade Square. Like, I remember it just exploded with red tents. I remember coming back from work, walking into Grand Parade Square off of Barrington and just seeing red tents everywhere. December 9th, there was a tent fire. It marked 3 weeks at Grand Parade Square. December 12th was one of my many encounters with Phoenix, who sadly is not with us anymore. Gone. The result of, from what I read from the Elizabeth Fry Facebook page, dying as the result of being beaten to death. December 13th, Canadian acting icon Tom Jackson showed up, made a donation. December 15th, we had an overdose. I remember that like it was yesterday. Have never talked to anyone in depth about what happened there. And who do I experience that with? Jen. So that happened. December 18th and the 19th were probably, aside from being threatened twice prior, the 18th and 19th were some of the scariest nights. And I've told this story a few times, and the only way that I can describe it is from the movie The Lion King. Remember that scene when all the hyenas were just going crazy and they were just circling, and that sound that they made, they were just jacked up? That's what it felt like on the 18th and 19th of December of 2023. I was in the tent. I was afraid to go outside and face what was out there. Just volunteering my time. December 24th, 2023, there were 3 separate calls to 911. On the 28th, we got power, and an individual showed up who was suicidal. On the 29th, I spent 45 minutes with an individual called, his name was Gary, and he was one of the most distraught individuals I've ever sat and talked to. I remember going, someone went and got him some A&W, someone went to the mall and got him some food. It was, all I could do was sit there and be, and listen to him. And this man who walked off the street found compassion and an ear in a warming hut. And he just sat there and cried and just told me this story. Like he just unloaded. And I never saw him again. On January 4th, I did my 40th live stream, and you can see all those shows on my YouTube. January 8th, there's a provincial announcement and a new shelter opening on the 22nd. January 12th, someone is at my tent, and this was, January 12th. January 12th, a group of individuals showed up, a group of ladies showed up. I believe they showed up with food. And as we are standing around the picnic table, talking about what's happening, what's been happening at Grand Parade Square, someone is ODing in one of the tents. Narcan is used, and this individual 5 minutes later is now joining the conversation that we're having. So in a span of 10 minutes, someone ODs in a tent, is saved, and then joins the conversation about just how crazy and out of control things are on that property. So yeah, that happened. January 17th was a day that I'll never forget. One of the organizations in Nova Scotia, Shelter Nova Scotia, dropped off one of their clients with a brand new tent at Grand Parade Square. I'll never forget the conversation that I had with the navigator. I just looked at them and said, you're kidding me, right? It is your job to keep people out of being outside, and you're bringing one of your clients to Grand Parade Square. I'll never, ever forget that moment. January 19th, we took a group of unhoused people who had been staying at Grand Parade Square up to the shelter that was about to open at the Halifax Forum. We all went up on the bus. There might have been a dozen of us in total. We weren't at that facility 15, 20 minutes when one of the guys who went up with us was assaulted, took a crutch across the face. So I'd never been in a shelter. That was my first time. Not the best first impression. I would never and have never suggested anyone go to a shelter of any kind. On January 21st, we had a propane fire at one of the unhoused tents, and if he hadn't been in the insulated red tent, I don't know if he would have survived, or his burns would have been much more severe. The final thing that I have here, on the 29th of January, we had a new resident was assaulted, hospitalized, and we took over looking after him and his girlfriend. And unfortunately, I've seen him on the streets since then. So, just a little snippet. Oh, that only goes till, that's the thing. That only goes till the end of January. Everything else is right here in this book. I'm coming to the end of this book. I have, I got enough pages to do me to the end of the year, and then I'll have 4 years. I'll have 4 years worth of material in this book. So if anyone knows anyone who's looking to help someone write a book, I've been told many times that I should write a book. I could write a book. I could write a book about the flag and all the amazing people that are a part of that journey. Right now, I believe the count is like 1,410, 411, somewhere around there. Just an amazing story in of itself. Okay, that's all I had. 25 minutes. Okay, I just really wanted to stress a couple of things. In a meeting today, Halifax Regional Municipality, you can watch it on the news, you can probably Google it. I'm sure local outlets have carried the story, but they're looking to phase out the designated encampments over the next couple of years. But we know, because of the stats and the studies that are out there, that the number of people who are finding it more difficult to stay inside because of the rising cost of living, that number has doubled. I took a picture of an individual catching the bus on the way home tonight, an individual who for the last few nights is sleeping at bay number 2, sleeping at bay 2. I don't know if it's got heaters. Some of those bus shelters do have heaters, but this individual is just laying on a bench that is not meant to be slept on. They actually build them in such a way so that you can't lie down without being uncomfortable. They've been there for the last couple of nights, and there's an individual who is tenting a stone's throw from the art gallery, all tucked away there in the bushes. So there's another picture I took where another individual is sleeping. I'll put that up as well, in a little cubby space. So I guess the council can pat themselves on the back for just making this announcement that they're going to phase out things over the next couple of years. We'll see, because I don't see the situation getting any better as long as landlords are allowed to increase the rent by whatever number they deem is fair. Then there's going to be a lot of people in trouble, and they're going to be out on the streets sooner than you think. So until we start building public housing and not pumping more of our taxpayers' money into shelters, like that's what we should be doing. Just stop wasting money with band-aids. Let's start building. Let's start clearing some land. Let's start building. And for those that want to be inside four walls, let's give them that option. Yes? Okay. We are approaching midnight. We're getting ready for a brand new day here in Halifax, Nova Scotia. I hope you can enjoy it. My name is Matthew, and you are currently caught up in the moment.